If you're a fan of science fiction and spaceships and space combat, this week was very exciting. If not, wait for next week, I suppose. Hello and welcome to Juggernaut's weekly gaming news. So, Juggernaut, you say it's been a great week for science fiction and space battles fans. Why are you not playing one of those games? Because that's more or less everything that we're going to be talking about. I figured that the gameplay footage should not be of a space game because it sort of just gets boring, doesn't it? Fitting, but a bit dull. What games came out? Very briefly, and then we're going to get into them one at a time. First of all, Star Citizen, because that's the one I'm most excited about, as announced from pupils to planets, and there has been the Port Olisar update. Now, regarding Star Citizen, I'm not going to be talking too much about it because I've done a separate video on that game. And if you go to my channel, it's been released, I think, like yesterday or something like that. My apologies. So you can go ahead and watch that. It's a 20-something minute video about me analysing Port Olisar and giving you my first thoughts and impressions about that. And later on in the video, there's the pupils to planets. Sorry, I keep calling it From Pupils to Planets, even though it does make sense. It's not the name.
What now?
Pupils to Planets. My thoughts on the trailer and everything. That I've done that as well. Now, the game in the background is The Witcher 3, if it isn't obvious, though I'm assuming it is. I'm not going to be fighting these guys because they're going to murder me if I do. Run the hell away. Okay. I forget you can't actually jump. I can't strike. It didn't let me hit anything. You said fair enough. The game, this week has been very exciting for space fans and fans of science fiction and space battles and stuff. Why aren't you playing a game of that genre? Because it gets dull. If that's the only thing, more or less the only thing we're going to be talking about, it gets a little bit dull to just talk about space games and play one at the same time. Fitting, but a bit dull. So the game in the background is The Witcher 3, if it isn't that obvious. First of all, I'm going to talk about Star Citizen, or rather, I'm going to mention it because I've done a separate video on that. Basically, Star Citizen came out with an update, sorry, let me rephrase that, an update came out for Star Citizen. Basically, it is Port Olisar and a trailer, Pupils to Planets, where they talk about their new procedurally generated planets and the way that you can seemingly integrate, that seamless integration from going to a spaceship on a spaceport somewhere up in the atmosphere to going down on the surface without any sort of loading screen, without anything. Oh, don't ever change, Witcher. I swear to God. It's so distracting, though. I'm sorry. So yeah, you can go from one place to the other without any loading screens, any problems like that. The lighting it seems incredibly advanced as well, and it's just amazing. Okay, it's just amazing. Be happy for the game. But as I said, I've done a separate video on that, and I'm not going to be discussing it here. Reason being, I'm going to... I actually gave the reason before I said reason being. Okay. You're drunk. Stop. I am going to be talking about Elite and Dangerous, though, because Elite and Dangerous came out with a sort of... came up with a response to this, if you will. They have released Horizons, which you need to buy separately. You get a huge discount if you already own Elite and Dangerous, the space fighting bit of it, I suppose. But what you do need to buy it. However, it is essentially more or less the same thing. You get exploration with your ship, through your ships and all that. Although on a less grand MMO scale that they're trying to do it in Star Citizen, however, in a more complete form, because, well, it isn't out yet for Star Citizen, you just get a new port to walk around in. However, that said, it is more complete, but there's less of it in Elite and Dangerous. I'm not going to get in on the whole fight between Elite and Dangerous versus Star Citizen. it is absolutely pointless to do something like that, because it attracts a lot of negativity from one side or the other. I like both games. I have only and I only intend on playing Star Citizen. However, I think both games are very cool. It's been a while since we had a great open world space exploration game where you can go on huge multi-crew ships and all that. Yeah, it's good that we have both of them. Why we need to be at each other's throats about it all the time. That said, Horizon seems a little bit pricey. I don't know though. It's up to you. Again, people that do own Elite and Dangerous already get a huge discount. That is true, but I don't know. It's up to you. You make the choice whether it's worth buying or not. I can't tell you because, well, only you know whether you're interested in something like that and whether you have the money to buy it. So, moving on slightly from the space stuff genre. As those two games are huge and have millions upon millions of dollars behind them, I'm not so sure about Elite and Dangerous, but I think Star Citizen has some 80 or 90 million behind it from donations, essentially, only. So yeah, it's an insane amount of money. Huge games. Came out with updates relatively recently, both of them nearly at the same time. So yeah, I'm holding out hope that we get something from these games by New Year's Eve. I know it's way too ambitious, and in the case of Star Citizen, it looks like every day that passes, it looks like we're not gonna get anything for New Year's Eve special. Maybe there's like a Christmas hat on one of the maps somewhere, but it's more or less it. But I am seriously hoping that for New Year's Eve we might get an FPS module in Star Citizen, or at least a new map or something like that. Maybe I'm being too ambitious though. I don't know. It has been a while since we've had any real content, quote unquote, be released to us, so I don't know what to tell you. But as I said, moving on, Rainbow Six Siege DLC. Wait for it. HD textures. You might call me a cynical bastard, and you might call me a old fart or whatever, even though I'm nowhere near old. But I don't want to sound like your grandfather, but back in my day, we used to get games, buy games, or pirate them. Because yes, we used to pirate games a hell of a lot more back in the day, whether we want to admit that or not. Okay, that's a bit distracting, I'm sorry. And they used to come with this options menu, which a lot of the games don't seem to understand what it is nowadays, because the option menu is almost gone from most of the games. Often, you get like an audio slider and a high or medium or low graphic settings and you're done. No, my friends, the options menu needs to be scrollable, and it needs to have dozens, if not 100 options that you can tweak around with your game. But apparently nowadays that's way too complex, and the reasons behind that I will not get into. But we're going backwards in terms of graphical options. And we were going backwards over the course of the last few years. The introduction of new monitors as well, forcing us to go from somewhere up to from what 140 frames on the CRT monitors. Now we get like 60 and we're happy on our monitors. No, 60 is not good. 90 is where we should be going towards. And people are now arguing that 30 is acceptable. No, it's not. But I digress. We've gone so backwards, in fact, that now we're getting DLC as HD textures. Downloadable content as well, basically downloadable HD textures. Things that if they weren't there, you wouldn't buy the game. That's how it used to be. It didn't have HD textures, you don't buy it. Very simple. The simplest thing ever. You go to the menu. Once inside the menu, you go to options, and depending on how good your rig is, you choose the texture quality and the anti-aliasing and everything. Now it's a DLC? Are you fucking kidding me? Oh, but the DLC is this, and it's good, and the textures look good. I don't care. I don't rightly care. DLC for HD textures, don't make this a thing, people. It's not a problem with Rainbow Six Siege. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. They want to have DLC as HD textures, fine. This has been happening for a while, and it's getting me worried. Worried that at some point in the near future it's going to become a standard, and people are going to go, well, if you want your game to look good, you need to pay extra. No, I don't. When did that become a thing? No. No. What? On to more optimistic. News, I suppose. We should trot on, but it's not, again, it's not a problem with this DLC. Siege is a good game. Siege is a really good game. I've praised it a lot for its destructible terrain, for its dynamic matches, something that's very unique. We haven't seen it. When it got released, I made a gaming update about it. Gaming news video about it. It was great. And then the DLC. Somehow I wasn't surprised. Let me be clear. I'm turning into Obama, aren't I? For Christ's sake. Let me be clear. No, but no, don't do this. No. I don't want gaming to go in this direction of. We have DLC for everything. We have day one DLC for a better gun. We have DLC for pay now and get the best blaster in the game. Yes, I'm taking a shot at Star Wars Battlefront. Don't worry about it. We're going in this direction, and to me it seems like we're going nowhere but downhill. I sincerely hope that this is not a trend that keeps repeating, and this is just something that happened now and then, I don't know, will never happen again. I hope. I bloody well hope, but somehow I think we're going to be seeing more of it. Which is not good, just to be even clearer. It is not good. But moving on. But yeah, as I said, to wrap things up, there hasn't. That's it. That's it. Games-wise, what's been released that tickled my fancy. There have been a few other games, I know, but none of them really seem that interesting to me. I may be horribly mistaken about some of them, but yeah, I know regarding the MMOs on Steam, I know specifically about them. Often MMOs get mixed reviews and poor reviews, and they're actually not bad games. You see a guy goes 250 hours on record, and he says, shit game, I don't recommend it. Well, if you put in 250 hours in it, there's something that made you go and do those 200 and something hours. So rating isn't everything, especially not on Steam. You see some of the best MMOs out there have mixed ratings on Steam, which is to be expected, I suppose, but still, none of them really looked too interesting to me. So that will be all regarding the games releases. Now, onto more personal stuff, I suppose we can call it. What have I been playing this week? Well, I've actually been playing a lot of Fallout New Vegas, and I was thinking about making this video in Fallout New Vegas, like the gameplay in the background, that rather than The Witcher, but opted out for going for The Witcher because it's aesthetically more pleasing, and Fallout does have a tendency to crash every now and again, though I did fix it with the 4 GB thing. I've modded the hell out of it. I have 68 mods installed on Fallout New Vegas, and the reason I'm playing Fallout New Vegas is I've got to the end of Fallout 4, right? And I want to go back to New Vegas and see which of the two is a better game. That being said, I do realise that Fallout 4 is new and that New Vegas had years and years of mod releases behind it, and thus far I'm liking New Vegas more, I have to say. Why? The ability to create your own character, and for someone like me that's played through New Vegas 9 times, and this is my 10th playthrough, it's different every single time. The choices you make, the ways you interact with people, even though there's a very limited amount of options you can pick. There's not 200 different options you can go for in each quest. The way you approach each quest and the way you do it and your attitude towards the NPCs in the game can be completely unique, and the game gives you this freedom of choice and the freedom to not choose as well, which the freedom to be evil, to be good, to be grey in between and leaning towards any end of that spectrum. For example, I've made this desperado character, basically, who's not inherently evil, but is a bit of a scumbag. I was thinking about doing the complete opposite, having a character that's utterly evil. And there's a perk for that as well within the mods that vilifies you with all the major factions, but puts you in charge of 2 raiders as your companions. So you're like this trio that goes around the wasteland murdering people, and you can absolutely do that. And it fits great with the story. This guy attacked you and now you want to get back at him, and then you get drawn into this entire New Vegas thing, and then the platinum chip and everything. It goes well with it. Whereas in Fallout 4 we just can't do that. I finished the game once, I may finish it twice, without extensive modding, and months and months later, in terms of mods, I just have no interest to play the game anymore, because I've seen everything. There's a very limited amount of stuff that I can do. That said, there are different character builds, the combat's better, there are pros and cons to both, I understand. So that's the reason I've been playing Fallout New Vegas, and to be honest, I've sort of missed the New Vegas land, I suppose we can call it, and I don't want to do that. So, I played Fallout New Vegas. Other than that, there's not a lot else I've played, I have to be completely honest. I've also played Civ 5. Some more with the 2014 mod. That is just amazing. I'm thinking about cheating in it slightly just to make the game more interesting, because yeah, it's just go wild in this 2014 scenario. Doesn't really matter, and it is just it's been incredible fun. Like every time I get the chance, I go and like play a couple turns of Civ, and then I'll do something else. Right? It's incredibly addictive, that game. But yeah, other than those two, there's actually not been a lot that I've played. Well, let me think. Actually, I'm waiting for next week to get Just Cause, as I haven't gotten the chance to play that game yet. However, it does look really good, and right now I'm way too busy to be playing anything new, so gonna have to wait next week for Just Cause, and I may make a couple of videos about it, I may not, I don't know. That and the occasional Binding of Isaac run, like I try and do 2 each day, because yeah, it's Binding of Isaac obviously. So that's been what I've been playing. Let me know down in the comments what you've been playing, and is there something I should check out that you might recommend? news for the channel before we end the video. It will only take a second, I promise. I've actually, since the last gameplay thing, before the last cut in the gameplay, I had to reinstall The Witcher, which is actually why the daily is a bit late. Oh, sorry, the weekly gaming news are a bit late. I tried installing some mods, and I have to be honest, I sort of screwed up, and I had to reinstall the game, so yeah. Shouldn't have done it, should have first recorded the gameplay, then played around with mods, but hey, doesn't matter too much. So, yeah. News for the channel goes as follows. The new microphone has been ordered and paid for. Yes. You have no idea how excited I am about this. There is, can you hear the excitement in my voice? There is a definitively large amount of excitement going on right now, even though I'm trying to hide it. Yeah, it's gonna be here. Drum roll, please. Sometime in January. It is not possible physically for me to get it at any earlier point. Yes, that makes me sad. Yes, I'm forced to wait an extensive period of time for a bloody microphone. Why? They've basically told me you should have picked a different time for this because there's a whole bunch of orders clogged up and they can't get to me right now. So, there's that. Oh well. There we go. That would more or less be it. As far as this weekly gaming news goes, I am excited to continue my Attila Total War campaign in the Let's Play. I haven't actually played a lot of it. I have a backlog. I had a backlog now. I have to record a bit more right after this. And other than that, the following week, or rather this current week, because I'm uploading this on Monday. The following week, Monday through Friday, is possibly going to be the busiest week ever in the history of ever. I am gonna try and keep up with the uploading schedule and then one video every 2 days at a bare minimum, if not a video each day, or even two like I release sometimes. I'm gonna try, and I'm fairly certain I can manage. But I have essentially 3 to 4 exams each day, which is absurd. I know it should be illegal. Yada yada yada. Personal problems. Nobody's interested. Shut up, Jug. Fair enough. But yeah, that would be pretty much all. Thank you very much for joining me in this Juggernaut's weekly gaming update, and until next time, I bid you farewell. Bye-bye.